cost you. Probably was more than $1. So, yeah, just don't assume it's right. It could be, but and even then, penalties, interest you can never get out of. Penalties, if you've never asked for a penalty to be waived before, you ask for it one time, if you show any kind of reasonable cause, the IRS, and even the state to a lesser degree, will forgive them. One that actually, I think this is real, somebody sent it to us, and they highlighted the notice. They asked for a penalty to be waived for good cause, and it wasn't a client of ours, it was just, this could be an internet folklore too, it could be completely false, but they actually wrote something to the effect of, having 3 kids turns your brains to mush, therefore we forgot about it. And the IRS actually said, because of that reason, we will forgive the penalty. Don't know if it's real, but it was just one of those, like, okay. So they're pretty, we say you can get one get out of jail free card pretty easily. That goes for just about any penalty notice. And again, unclaimed property, be aware of it. Sales and use tax, be aware of it. For the use tax, again, you can report it on your 1040. It's up to you. Like I said, it really isn't going to take much for the state to tell Dell, Amazon, whomever, to give us your lists of customers in our state over the past 4 years, and they can get a good little audit sample just for that. Whether or not they do, keep in mind that I don't know how long that use tax box has been on the form. It's been on the form as long as I've been working, at least. So that hasn't happened yet. It's just not to say it couldn't happen in the future. I just think in an election year, chances are a little less, because one thing your state senator doesn't want to do is tick you off right now. Now come 2013. Yes?
Are you saying that use tax on the Michigan 1040 is optional?
No. That's the professional answer. It's not optional.
It's there.
It's there.
It's there.
It's up to the client. We have some clients that don't, but although their internet purchases are usually so minor, I mean, they go and buy one thing online, and it would amount to about $2 in tax, so they're willing to take that risk. Buy a lot of stuff online. You know, I can't tell you not to do it. My professional opinion would be to fill the box in, but since everybody's different. Yes?
Is the same concept true if you're selling things online? Probably report that as income.
Well, now you're getting into the whole 1099 issue that we were talking about earlier. How remember Obama's healthcare plan? How part of it was everybody was going to get 1099, whether you were individual or business. And then they came back, I don't know, a few months later and said, no, you're not required to do that anymore. So the professional answer would be, if you find 20 bucks outside, that's technically income. I mean, that would be the professional answer. Now, your question might be, how will the IRS ever know? In that case, they wouldn't. But you know, if you buy stuff if you sell a lot of stuff online, and it's a substantial number. If you're selling to one individual, you know, actually I shouldn't say that. You just sell a substantial number, and that could be different for anybody. You might want to consider it. Now, you should have expenses that can offset that income, but so you might not pay any tax, but it's just something you need to be aware of. Yes?
For an individual selling something used online, I would think that as long as the money you get back in is less than what you paid for the item, it would technically be like a loss. And so you wouldn't have to, that's not income to it.
And the other thing, yes, and the other thing that you got to be aware of is that if it's a hobby, the IRS won't let you deduct losses from hobbies. So if it's something where you're selling something like on eBay or whatever, on Craigslist, occasionally online, you're gonna have a loss more than likely if it's used. Now, if you got a brand, if you got like, I don't know, something that appreciate work of art, you know, again, that's something to be just to be aware of. the test to determine if it's a hobby or not is you're supposed to show a profit every 5 years. Now, you'll find that you can still get out of that pretty easily. Like your Schedule C is showing losses for your entire life. You still might be able to deduct it. The IRS can still come in though and say, no, it really is a hobby. But if you have a genuine for-profit motive and it just hasn't worked out, the IRS isn't going to come back and throw them out. We'll have clients that their Schedule C's, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll just let them know. IRS could come in and fight this. Now it's something where, like I said, if you generally have a loss and you're really trying to work hard at making money and it just hasn't worked out, the IRS will say, no, that is a business. So we'll let you keep the losses, but the test is you have to show profit you're supposed to show a profit 2 out of 5 years. Otherwise, the IRS could come in and consider it a hobby, which would disallow the losses. We'll keep the gain though, but they'll disallow the losses. Are there any other questions? Yes?
Once you start drawing Social Security and let's say you take some money out of your SEP or your IRA, are those things just added to your ordinary income and taxed that way? There's not a percentage or anything, it's just added into your total income?
Yes, there's usually, yes. That would be the short answer. It's going to be in this long, strong explanation, but I'll just say yes, generally speaking. Yes? There is, well, there's a couple different things. There's the alternative minimum tax, which is a federal issue, and then there's the alternative small business tax, which is part of the MBT. The alternative small business tax is the small business credit.
What was the question?
If the alternative business tax was the same as the MBT, and there's a couple distinctions, wherever I had it. The federal returns have what's called the alternative minimum tax. The state return has what's called the alternative business tax. They're two completely different things. The alternative minimum tax says you have to pay this amount of tax every year. They throw out certain itemized deductions. The alternative business tax is the small business credit. It's the alternative tax, it's like 1.9% of your adjusted business income. And that is part of the small business calculation. They'll let you pay whichever is lower, provided that you meet those qualifications. First time I've done one of these with a clicker. That right there is my contact info. It's on the last slide. If you by chance would like a business card, I have some. If you have any questions, you can feel free to contact me. I do my best. I am OCD when it comes to email. I'm one of those people that when the Outlook box pops up, I got to answer it right away. So I'm usually pretty quick on returning emails, phone calls too. So that is just a general phone number that you can ask for me. And if you have any questions or need some help with something, feel free to give me a call. If you have any other questions and you can't think of them right now, I'm just going to stay here and let Ed do his thing, and I'll be around afterwards, so feel free to do so. And, this is the third or fourth time I've done this little talk, although the last one was like around first week of December, so I had to refresh my memory on what I was talking about. But hopefully everybody got something from this. That it's a pretty big change, and assuming the government doesn't decide to change it again, which I'm almost certain they probably will, especially if one political party gets the majority back in the House and Senate. If something will probably change, it allows me to keep working. So just be aware of it, and like I said, if you have any questions, and thanks for your time. With that, I'll let Ed come up here and entertain you for a while. Oh, break. You should do a break, quick break.
Sure, 5-minute break.
Do a 5-minute coffee break. I know those chairs are also comfortable.
Make sure you.